Hi everyone, welcome to the Astro Tarot channel for November. This month we have some really interesting things going on. Of course, as always, we start with All Souls Day and All Saints Day just after Halloween, which shows things about the veil being very thin between the two worlds at this time of year. Hence also it being the month of Scorpio, which is also known for the deep, unseen, mysterious worlds. Not only do we have that, but we also have the date 11/11/11 coming up, thought to be by some very significant goings on around that time. Things about portals opening, gateways opening, and new streams of consciousness coming down from ascended masters and the higher ones to help us through these changing times on our planet. Join me right now to see what the tarot says for this month. So the energies for the month start with the Eight of Cups here. This basically suggests that there is quite a lot of confusion. We were just speaking about the veil, and as you can see there, we've got some kind of confusing smokescreen going on here. So this shows that that veil may be actually more confusing than clarifying in the first week. So expect to feel like you may not be able to see the wood for the trees in the first week of November. You may be flooded with impressions but not really know exactly what to do with those impressions. And this is also clarified by the next two cards, also about the same week. Here we have the Two of Swords. This shows, again, some veil that we're not, as you can see here. You know, it's showing that the veil is across our eyes, that we're so close yet not quite there. And it's just hanging around in this kind of block where we can't see clearly. And, you know, the best thing is not to overdo it with trying to work it out, because look what can happen to us if we try and work out what's going on. Our mind here goes into meltdown. So in a way, the first thing to do this November is just practice any loose ends, practice accepting loose ends, become the master of loose ends, and just allow them to be the way that they are meant to be, because it's really not fully formed there at all. Interestingly enough, the next week, which is the week that contains 11/11/11, looks like this, which is very, very different. Instead of having the Eight of Cups to start with, which shows lack of clarity, what we actually have is the sun here. And as you can see, the sun, when the sun is out, we can see clearly. So it is showing here that, you know, the week that contains 11/11 really does seem to shift something. Also, what I thought was really interesting is what came up is you've got the Two of Wands here. So it's again almost the opposite, because the one with the Eight of Cups was the Two of Swords, where you had this veil and this block and not being able to see. Whereas here what you've got is the Two of Wands, showing that actually everything's becoming unlocked, as you can see here with the key. And also it looks very much like 11, just as this looks like 11 with the two swords there, 1/1, and here we've got the two wands, 1/1. So it shows that 11/11 does really look like it unblocks something, also because on the other side of it we also have the same card. This card here is the source in Osho Zen, which is the same card, the sun. So what you're actually seeing here is what looks like two meetings going on. Two portals, maybe, two worlds coming together, mass downloads of clarity. And it's actually quite amazing. We can see like these secrets being unlocked by our consciousness rising strongly. And I just thought it was really, really interesting that these cards came up. What with them looking like 11 and looking like portals. We have 11 on the third week. we have cards to the material plane, and then what you have here is the Death card, again about transformation. And also here you've got suppression. So, you know, the Death card usually comes along in tarot when people aren't facing what they need to face, when actually change has to come along in order for life to go on. And it feels to me as if there is a sense of that happening with that consciousness shift of the 11th. It feels as if this is also maybe going to be reflected back in the material plane as well. When I look at this, I just see things to do with the earth here and the beauty, and then things to do here with, I just feel like there's something coming up from the earth, and here we've got suppression as well. So it feels to me as if I'm tuning into Mother Earth when I see these ones, and that there is something that wouldn't surprise me if we have more earthquakes or volcanoes going off. She needs to shirk off again. We have this sense here of the economy and the sense that it is really slowing down. As you see here, it's really slowing down. Yet people are really trying to keep it going. Yeah. There may still be a sense of us trying to cope with our change and finding the best way forward for it, and still thinking from our old perspectives rather than our new perspectives. And this is okay. This is part of our changing times. It's part of our challenges. It just feels to me, though, that if people will continue to try going on in the same vein, that, you know, all that's going to be created is not working. So what you've got here in the general for this month shows that, you know, there is change going on. There is cutbacks. There is lots of different elements going on. And it's saying that, you know, if people will act, if people will try and do, this is what comes from it. Stress. Stress, stress, stress. You know, at the beginning we had the mirroring going on between the lack of clarity and the 11 to the brilliant clarity in the 11 here. And in the mid of the reading, in the mid-month, it shows that that clarity brings us into another level of not being able to suppress what's going on with the world. But what's really interesting is we've got another mirroring with the last two. It shows here, you go from this week, which shows this 5 of Pentacles going on here with the Knight of Wands and slowing down. And you've got a similar kind of message going on here. You've got the 5 of Swords, you know, and the 5 of Pentacles and the 5 of Swords is interesting because the 5 of Swords is about thought and the 5 of Pentacles is about money and materialism. And the 5s are generally about change. So it's showing that if we don't change our thoughts, we're not going to change our material plane. And this is also saying the same thing with the Page of Wands. Interestingly enough, you had the 5 of Coins and the Knight of Wands in the week before. So they're very, very similar messages about the need to change our actions. We are being asked to find new ways to live. My advice to you is to practice acceptance this month. And, you know, just be aware that there may be some gradual dawnings in your consciousness, and you may be seeing things a lot clearer by the end of the month than you were at the beginning of the month. And that you may also feel that, you know, you need to shift in the way that you live in terms of the material world. Well, there's an ebook about this that I've written, and it's on my site, www.initiationworkshops.co.uk. If you sign up to the newsletter there, you'll always get an Astro Tarot blog every month, and you'll also get a free copy of the ebook, which goes into the changes and how best to live them. I really wish you great changing times.